Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Have you ever wondered why Jesus, the Messiah, chose to descend from the tribe of Judah rather than any other son of Jacob? Why was this specific tribe chosen as the vehicle for the Messianic promise? As we examine the sacred genealogies in the pages of the Bible, we see that Jesus' lineage is traced from Abraham to David, with Judah playing a crucial role in this line. Today, I'd like to share how this choice is not merely a matter of ancestry, but a significant detail in the divine plan. Jesus' genealogy, traced from Abraham to David, plays a key role in understanding his descent through the tribe of Judah. Abraham, considered the father of faith, was blessed by God with the promise of becoming the patriarch of a great nation. Abraham had two notable sons, Ishmael, born of Hagar, and Isaac, born of Sarah. The divine promise was specifically directed toward Isaac's descendants. Isaac, in turn, had two sons, Esau and Jacob. The birthright blessing, which would normally grant a privileged position, was transferred from Esau to Jacob in the well-known episode of the sale of the birthright. Jacob, later named Israel, became the ancestor of the 12 tribes of Israel. Among Jacob's sons, Judah occupies a central role in the genealogy of Jesus. The Messianic prophecy recorded in the Old Testament begins to unfold with the patriarch Jacob. As he blesses his sons before his death, one might have expected Reuben, Simeon, or Levi to assume leadership and carry the Messianic lineage. However, significant moral failures disqualified each of them from the rights of the firstborn. Though Reuben held the right of the firstborn and was expected to lead, the book of Genesis reveals that while Jacob lived in that land, Reuben slept with Bilhah, his father's concubine, thereby defiling his father's bed through sexual immorality, Genesis 35:22. This act likely disqualified Reuben from leadership. Similarly, when their sister Dinah was sexually violated, Simeon and Levi reacted with wrath, deceiving all the men of the city and killing them in revenge. This violent response led to a harsh rebuke from Jacob. Their uncontrolled anger and deadly vengeance rendered them unfit to carry the Messianic lineage. These disqualifications of the eldest three sons stand out in stark contrast to the initial expectations of leadership and continuation of the Messianic promise through them. In this context, among Jacob's sons, Judah, despite also having committed errors, was chosen to play a central role in the genealogy of Jesus. The Messianic prophecy begins to unfold as Jacob blesses his sons before his death. In Genesis 49:10, Jacob prophesies over Judah, declaring, "The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the peoples." This specific prophecy highlights the royal and ruling lineage that would emerge from the tribe of Judah. The term Shiloh is often interpreted as a reference to the Messiah, pointing to a future leader and king. The connection between this prophecy and the choice of Judah as the line through which Jesus would come is evident in Christ's own ancestry. During Jacob's blessing over his son Judah, another significant passage is found in Genesis 49:9. "Judah is a young lion. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He crouches, he lies down like a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him?" The lion symbolism associated with the tribe of Judah is a rich and powerful metaphor woven throughout the scriptures, representing both strength and kingship. The lion is a symbol of power, courage, and leadership, and the tribe of Judah was destined to take on a leadership role among the tribes of Israel. This metaphor gains even deeper meaning when we see the title, Lion of the Tribe of Judah, later applied to Jesus Christ in the messianic context of the Gospels. In Revelation 5:5, John has a vision in which the Lion of the Tribe of Judah, the root of David, has triumphed, a clear reference to Jesus. This symbolic image reveals Christ's kingship and his power to overcome all challenges. Throughout biblical history, the lion is not only associated with physical strength, but also with the capacity to rule with justice and wisdom. The specific choice of Judah as the forerunner of the Messiah's advent emphasizes God's faithfulness in fulfilling his promises of redemption through the royal lineage of this tribe. When we examine this choice through the lens of theology, we perceive a unique convergence of divine characteristics and purposes. When Jacob prophesied over Judah in Genesis, he not only emphasized the leadership and the scepter that would remain in his lineage, but also stated that the peoples would obey him. This suggests a distinct authority and messianic role assigned to the tribe of Judah. The theology behind this choice can be understood in light of Judah's loyalty and his significance in fulfilling divine promises. David, a prominent descendant of Judah, was a revered king, and God made an everlasting covenant with him, promising that his throne would be established forever. This covenant points to a messianic king who would arise from David's lineage. Moreover, the very meaning of the name Judah, which denotes praise or worship of God, suggests a special connection to the recognition of divine sovereignty. Throughout its history, the tribe of Judah demonstrated loyalty and devotion to God, making it a meaningful choice for the coming of the Messiah. When comparing Judah with the other tribes of Jacob, a clear distinction and specific purpose emerge in the theological selection of Judah as the messianic lineage. Each of the 12 tribes has its unique characteristics and contributions to the history of the people of Israel. However, the selection of Judah for the messianic role reveals profound and meaningful theological reasons. Other tribes, such as Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and others, played important roles in various contexts. For example, Levi was chosen for the priesthood, and the tribe of Joseph, represented by Ephraim and Manasseh, also received distinct blessings. Each tribe contributed in its own way to the formation and identity of the people of Israel. Nevertheless, the theological reasons behind Judah's selection go beyond his individual traits. The patriarch Jacob, in his final blessings to his sons, highlighted specific qualities in Judah that made him suitable for a unique role in the story of redemption. In Genesis 49, Jacob prophesied about Judah, describing him as a lion, symbolizing strength, leadership, and royalty. These traits were essential for the messianic mission that would unfold through his lineage. As we carefully examine biblical stories, we begin to notice small details and decisions that demonstrate how everything was meticulously planned within the divine design, preparing the way for the lineage that would culminate in Jesus. The story of Joseph is a compelling narrative that vividly illustrates divine providence in the choice of Judah to play a central role in the messianic lineage. Joseph's saga begins with his father Jacob's special favor toward him, expressed through the gift of a colorful coat. This act generates jealousy among Joseph's brothers, leading them to conspire against him, even contemplating murder. However, Judah's decision to propose selling Joseph instead of killing him marks a crucial turning point in the biblical narrative, with profound implications for Judah's posterity and the unfolding of God's plan. In Genesis 37:26-27, we read, "Judah said to his brothers, 'What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood.' His brothers agreed. This decision not only immediately preserves Joseph's life, but also sets into motion a chain of unexpected events. Sold into slavery, Joseph is taken to Egypt, where, by divine providence, he rises to a position of influence and plays a key role in preserving life during the coming famine. This turning point in the story not only saves Joseph, but also lays the groundwork for his future reconciliation with his brothers. Moreover, Judah's decision not to kill Joseph carries significant theological weight. By choosing to sell rather than murder, God uses this event to shape the course of history. Judah, unknowingly, becomes a vital part of the divine plan by preserving Jacob's lineage. The eventual reunion between Joseph and his brothers not only symbolizes reconciliation and forgiveness, but also reinforces Judah's essential role in the messianic lineage. The descendants of Judah become a central element in the revelation of the Messiah. In a prophetic sense, Judah's decision becomes vital to the fulfillment of Jacob's words, that the scepter would not depart from Judah until Shiloh comes. Another divinely orchestrated event worth noting is the story of Tamar, recorded in Genesis 38. Tamar was Judah's daughter-in-law, having been married to two of his sons, and Onan, both of whom died prematurely. According to the Levirate tradition, which prescribed that a man should marry his deceased brother's widow to ensure offspring and preserve the family line, Tamar was destined to marry Judah's third son, Shelah, once he reached the appropriate age. However, Judah hesitated to fulfill this duty, likely fearing for Shelah's life, given the premature deaths of his two older sons. Realizing her future was at stake, Tamar acted shrewdly when she noticed Judah's reluctance to keep his promise. She disguised herself as a prostitute and approached Judah, who, not recognizing her, engaged with her. Since Judah did not have payment at that moment, Tamar asked for a pledge. He gave her his seal, cord, and staff as collateral. Later, when it became evident that Tamar was pregnant, Judah, initially outraged and assuming her guilt in immoral behavior, demanded an explanation. Tamar then revealed her plan and presented the items he had given her. Recognizing his own fault, Judah admitted that Tamar was more righteous than he. Tamar gave birth to twins, Perez and Zerah. Perez would become a significant ancestor in the lineage that would ultimately lead to the Messiah. This narrative, marked by Tamar's shrewdness and divine intervention in preserving Judah's lineage, demonstrates how God can use even complex situations and questionable human choices to fulfill his purposes. Divine providence ensured that the Messianic line would continue through Judah, even against his own intentions, preparing the way for the coming of the Savior. We must also not forget the story of Ruth, a touching narrative that unfolds in Bethlehem during a time of famine in Israel. Ruth, a Moabite woman, returns to Bethlehem with her mother-in-law Naomi after the death of their husbands. Demonstrating extraordinary loyalty, Ruth chooses to stay with Naomi and embrace her faith. She begins working in the fields during the harvest and catches the attention of Boaz, a close relative of Naomi, and crucially, a member of the tribe of Judah. Boaz, a righteous and generous man, shows compassion to Ruth and instructs his servants to treat her kindly, allowing her to gather grain more abundantly. The turning point comes when Naomi advises Ruth to act according to the Old Testament laws of redemption and levirate marriage, which allowed a close relative to redeem property and marry the widow of a deceased relative to preserve the family line. Boaz, adhering to these laws, accepts the role of redeemer. The union between Boaz and Ruth reflects divine providence. This particular choice within the tribe of Judah proves significant in light of the Messianic prophecies and the theological importance of this tribe. After her husband's death, Ruth could have gone her own way, but God's plan was already in motion. Ruth's story vividly illustrates how God directed seemingly ordinary events to fulfill his greater purposes, preparing the way for the Messiah. The relationship between Boaz and Ruth not only blessed their lives, but also contributed to the divine plan of redemption and reconciliation. In addition to these stories, we must also remember the Messianic promise given to David, which further underscores the importance of the tribe of Judah. When we examine the genealogical records in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke, we find that Jesus' lineage is traced back to David, and consequently to Judah. This genealogical trace confirms the fulfillment of the Messianic prophecy in Jesus, a descendant of the tribe of Judah, strengthening our understanding of God's promise throughout Israel's history. David, chosen by God as king, left a lasting legacy in Israel's history. His reign was marked by military victories, national development, and the conquest of Jerusalem as the capital. The promise made to David, recorded in 2 Samuel 7, marks a pivotal moment in Israel's story. God promises to establish David's descendant as king, whose reign would be eternal. The passage states, "I will establish a place for my people Israel, and plant them so that they may dwell in their own place and be disturbed no more, and wicked men shall oppress them no more, as formerly." This promise carries deep messianic significance, pointing to a future king who would bring stability, justice, and an everlasting kingdom. The connection to Judah becomes clear when we consider later prophecies specifying that this promised descendant would come from David's lineage, belonging to the tribe of Judah, culminating in Jesus Christ. It is also important to remember the unconditional covenant God made with David. When your days are fulfilled and you rest with your ancestors, I will raise up your offspring after you, who will come from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. After David's death, his son Solomon ascended to the throne of Israel. Under Solomon's reign, Israel experienced great prosperity and development, thanks to his wisdom and justice. However, as Solomon aged, his kingdom faced increasing challenges. After his death, the kingdom was divided into two rival entities, the northern kingdom, Israel, and the southern kingdom, Judah. Throughout the generations, both kingdoms saw a mix of good and evil kings. Yet, Judah maintained the dynastic line, culminating in the lineage that would lead to Christ. During the Assyrian invasion and the subsequent exile, the apostate northern kingdom of Israel was completely destroyed, resulting in the disappearance of 10 tribes from history. However, the lineage of Judah remained resilient. Among Jacob's 12 sons, Judah emerged as a remnant, a small flame that kept alive the spark of divine leadership. This scenario, as foretold in the prophecies, confirmed that the scepter of leadership truly rested with the tribe of Judah. In choosing Judah, God not only fulfilled prophecy, but also laid a firm foundation for Jesus' mission on earth. The lineage of Judah symbolizes the continuity of the promise of a Redeemer, and the fulfillment of these prophecies in Jesus Christ reveals the depth of divine love and wisdom. By understanding the choice of Judah, we are led to contemplate the grandeur of God's plan and to acknowledge his sovereignty in the story of redemption. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you made it this far, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on one of the 2 videos that will appear on your screen to keep watching. Thank you, and may God bless you. See you soon.